Well, hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to QPAC Live, a program of the Queensborough Performing Arts Center, located on the campus of Queensborough Community College in Queens, New York. How are you? We're back. We're back. Our virtual entertainment programming is back, and we are happy to see you and have you with us here. We've been coming to you virtually to celebrate the arts with programs that are unique and exciting, and tonight is no exception. Now, we took a little break. You see, I want to fill you in. We took a little break because we just completed a fabulous live outdoor concert series. All I can say is that it was so life affirming. It was so wonderful seeing so many of you in person, seeing you smile and dance and sing. It is exactly what we needed. And we really got to celebrate the arts and music of all different genres. We had the Doo-Wop Project. We had Broadway's Rock of Ages band. We had the Sensational Soul Cruisers. We had the Kings of Disco, and then just this past Friday, we had Here Comes the Sun, a celebration of the music of the Beatles. And I must say that it was really exactly what we needed. We needed to hear music live again, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that so many of you put your trust in us, and you came out to celebrate all the wonderful music we were able to provide. So thank you to all of you that were at these concerts. So now we're back. We're back, and we're going to come to you virtually until about mid-November. We have different programs every week, all different artists from across the musical spectrums, from Broadway to cabaret, to even the rock and roll scene and so forth. So join us. Make plans to join us. You can follow us on Facebook or on YouTube and be notified when we go live. Now, I also wanted to let you know that we have a brand new website. This website was just released, and it's in anticipation of us reopening our brand new theater. Super exciting. So when you have a chance, do look at our website, www.visitqpac, that's QPAC.org, www.visitqpac.org, so you can see what we have coming up. We have listed all of our virtual programming and all of our live in-person programming. We will be opening the brand new theater in the spring. We will be bringing you programming in person, and we want you there. And so we want you to know that when we do open, we will be opening with following the strictest COVID protocols. We have hired a COVID safety officer who is keeping us in line, and we want you to know that your safety is of greatest concern to us. And together, we're going to figure it out, and we are going to keep the entertainment coming. So one more announcement to make. We are starting up again for those of you that have young children or know some young children that would like to participate in a Saturday program. I'm going to take myself out for a minute, and we are coming back with the Gotta Dance program for our kids. This is a Broadway dance challenge for the children 18 to 14 years of age, and that starts up in October, the first Saturday in October from 11 to 12. Just look at these gorgeous faces. And so if you know someone from 8 to 14 who'd like to join us, they can do so by signing up, registering on the website www.visitqpac.org. And it's $10 a workshop. There is five sessions in the fall and then 5 sections in the spring. So many exciting things to talk about. But tonight we are celebrating the music of the great Sam Cooke. And we have a wonderful performer to help us do that. He is a Broadway veteran and an all around terrific entertainer. Please help me welcome Mr. Darrian Ford. Darrian, come on in.
Hello, hello.
There you are. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
I couldn't wait for tonight's program because I've been snooping around now for weeks and I've been watching you in action, and you're just you're a tremendous force of nature. You really are. Your voice, your the way you entertain, your dancing, everything. And I want to explore all those areas of your being tonight, if you don't mind.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I don't mind at all. I love sharing. Thank you so much for all those kind words. I really appreciate it. This is one of the more difficult times in the lives of performers, not being able to directly engage, with our audiences. So to hear those words from your mouth, it's like applause to me. So thank you very much.
Well, we have an audience with us tonight. We
Yes.
are virtual, but we do have our viewers watching. I see we've got Rosemary out there, and Steve, and Christopher, and so many of our regulars, if you will. And so, what makes this so much fun is that it's interactive. So, as we watch the program, if you'd like to comment or if you'd have a question for Darrian, you can just type in your question right below the broadcast, and we will be able to answer your questions and engage with you. So don't forget that you can do that. If you're watching on YouTube, you must have a name and password in order to comment. Now, Darrian, you're originally from Chicago, are you not?
I am. Chicago is my hometown, born and raised, just like Sam Cooke, actually. Actually,
Well,
no, that's not true. Sam was born in Tennessee and raised in Chicago.
okay, so he was. Do you think that there's something sort of interconnected between the blues and Chicago? Is there some kind of connection there?
Oh yeah, Chicago is definitely a blues town. I'd say it's more blues than any other medium, more than jazz, more than we have some notable pop singers from Chicago, Jennifer Hudson and Layla Hathaway, soul pop singers. But
Yes.
Chicago is a blues town, and Buddy Guys. I mean, it's definitely a blues rooted town for sure.
So if you were to, I know when you're in Nashville, there are so many of these bars and music venues, and you could hear just so much different music. But of course, country is very, very prevalent there.
Yeah.
In Chicago, would you say there's a lot of blues clubs there?
Oh, more than any other kind of club.
Okay,
More
okay,
than any other kind of club, just kind of like, venues that are dedicated to a particular kind of music. There's more blues bars than there are jazz bars, than there are like, top 40 bars for sure. And, blues is one of the things that Chicago keeps on its, board of tourism pages. Like, whenever you're in
okay.
Chicago, like you'll always find like, blues, the blues at the top of the things to do in Chicago. You'll find those venues. Some pretty famous ones too, in fact, here in Chicago.
So when did you start singing? When and how did you start singing?
Well, I started singing around 5 years old,
Okay.
and the first recollection of I have was singing, and where it was a real thing was in the kitchen of my home with my mom, and we would harmonize "You Light Up My Life" by Debbie Boone. I don't have any singing memories before that. I just remember that, and the idea that I was able to harmonize, it was already in me. It was definitely already there. I don't have any memories of singing before that, just of full out singing harmony, just on repeat with my mom in the kitchen in Chicago. That was my first memory.
You know, you're making me you're making me smile because that was yeah, that was the song for a while, right?
Yeah.
So you were either singing it constantly, or in my case, I remember banging it out for hours on the piano, you know, banging out that particular song. So that's really funny. When did you discover the music of Sam Cooke?
In 2006, I was doing a workshop of a Broadway show, and it was centered around the music of the 50s and 60s. So
Okay.
obviously, I was already aware of the pop material that Sam had done, you know, "Twist the Night Away" and all those like big singles. But as I was doing a little more research on the music of the 50s and 60s, the other acts that were prevalent at that time were like Nat King Cole and real crooner groups. You know what I mean? And so when I discovered Sam's Copacabana material, where he was crooning like Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole and some of the others, it blew me away. Like I was just like, wow, I never knew that he worked on this end of the music spectrum as well. You know, he really wanted to have the career of Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra and play in those venues because that was pop music then. Like, soul music was breaking through. Shortly after that, rock music began to break through, but the pop music of the 50s and 60s was jazz and standards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's so interesting. Was what show were you working on? Was that Smokey Joe's or what?
No, it was
What
called Great Googly Moo. It was about the Ink Spots, which I believe was the first interracial singing group, men's singing, first interracial integrated singing group.
Interesting. Wow. Well, we have so many more questions for you, and I know that our viewers do too. But we promised you, our viewers, a performance. You must see Darrian in action, because his style is unique, his voice is unique. So let's do that. Let's watch Darrian in action, and then let's come back. I've got more questions for Darrian. I know you'll have some questions for Darrian. So stay tuned. Darrian, are you ready to let us see you do what you do?
I am absolutely ready. Please enjoy the Cooke Book, the music of Sam Cooke.
Cooke Book, the music of Sam Cooke. And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Darrian Ford. Let me tell you about a place somewhere up in New York way, where the people are so gay, twisting the night away. Here they have a lot of fun, putting trouble on the run. Here you find the old and young, twisting the night away. Yeah, twisting, everybody's feeling great. They're twisting. Oh yeah. Listen, here's a man in evening clothes. How he got here, I don't know. But, oh man, you want to see him go, twisting the night away. He's dancing with the chicken slacks. She's a moving up and back. Oh man, there ain't nothing like twisting the night away. Yeah, twisting. Everybody's feeling great. Now twisting, yeah. One more side, we're twisting. Everybody's feeling great. We're twisting, yeah. One more time. Lean up. Come on, lean up now. Lean back. Leaning back with style. Lean up. Oh yeah. Lean back. What you said now? Come on and fly. Now twist. Hey, Chester. Here's a fellow in blue jeans, dancing with an old queen. Those stones up in the diamond rings, twisting the night away. Then you want to see her go, twisted to the rock and roll. Here you find the young and old, twisting the night away. Yeah, twisting. Everybody's feeling great. They are twisting. Oh yeah. One more time, we're twisting. Everybody. On behalf of all you good people, I think we should test that theory tonight, right here and right now. I'm lost and looking for my Savior, and I wonder where my Savior can be found. I'm lost and looking for my Savior. God, please send my Savior right on down. I'm lost and looking for my Savior, and I wonder where my Savior can be found. Oh, I'm lost, yes, and looking for my Savior. God, please send my Savior right on down. For my baby, and I wonder where my baby can be found. I'm lost and looking for my baby. Oh, somebody tell me please where my baby, where she can be found. Don't know much about history, don't know much biology, don't know much about science books, don't know much about the French I took, but I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. Now, don't know much about geometry, don't know much trigonometry, don't know much about algebra, don't know what a sine rule is for, but I do know that 1 and 1 is 2, and that this one could be with you. What a wonderful world this would be. Now, I don't claim to be an A student, but I'm trying to be, well, maybe by being an A student, baby, I could bring your love for me. Don't know much about history, don't know much biology, don't know much about science books. Oh no, don't know much about the French I too, but I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world till the sun is going down. Working on the highways and byways and wearing a frown. You hear them moaning their lives away. Then you'll hear somebody say, that's the sound of the men working on the chain. Lord, that's the sound of the men working on the chain. Listen, I'm going home one of these days. I'm going home to see my woman, whom I love so dear. But meanwhile, I got to work right here. That's the sound of the men working on the chain. Lord, that's the sound of the men working on the chain. All day long they're singing. That's the sound of the men working on the chain. This is one of my favorite little songs. A very serious little ditty. Frankie and Johnny were sweethearts. That's the way the story goes. Frankie bought everything for Johnny, from his Cadillac to his Ivy League clothes. Oh, he was sharp, all right, yeah, but he was doing her wrong. Now, a friend came running to Frankie. She said, you know I wouldn't tell you no lie. I saw your man riding around in that Cadillac blue, let it fly. Girl, if that's your man, honey, yes, he was doing you wrong. Now, Frankie dashed around the corner, dropped in a swinging place, and then she saw her old man Johnny with his arms around her waist. Oh, she caught him all right. Yeah, and he was doing her wrong. Yeah, this is what happened. Frankie reached down in her pocketbook, up with a long 44. She shot him once, you dog, 3 times to Johnny, fell on the hardwood floor. Yeah, she shot him all right, but you would too if he was the last thing she told me was, hey, I love you, I love you, I love you. Sorry, I love you now. ain't nothing could ever change this love I have for you. And don't go away. Oh no, don't you hear now? Don't you hear what I say? What I say? Give me time, give me time. I'm gonna make your love as strong as mine. 'Cause I know Rome wasn't built in a day. Now I would Romeo feel it was Juliet. Turn down his advances and played hard to get. He would not let this bother him, and this I know. Because where there's a light, there's hope. Oh, baby, oh yeah. Don't you let me call on you, Cupid. Love back your boy, let your arrow go straight to my lover's heart. For me, nobody but me. Cupid, please hear my cry. Let your arrow fly straight to my lover's heart. For me. Now, I don't mean to bother you, but I'm in distress. There's danger of me losing all of my happiness. I love a girl, don't know I exist, and this you can fix. So, Cupid, blow back your bow, let your arrow go straight to my lover's heart. For me, nobody but me. Cupid, please hear my cry. Let your arrow fly straight to my lover's heart. For me. Now, Cupid, your arrow makes her love strong for me. I promise I will love her until eternity. I know between the two of us, her heart we can steal. Help me if you will. I was born by the river in the lowlands. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. And it's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there on the sky. Lord, it's been a long time coming, but I know a change will come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, every time when I thought I would let go, now I think I'm able to carry on. Lord, it's been a long time coming, but I know change will come. Oh, yes it will. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change will come.
Yay! Let's welcome back Darrian right now. Hooray!
Are they standing up? Are they standing up?
I think so, for sure, for sure. We've got questions coming in. Darrian, I want to know now. Sam was called the father of soul, but he was also a pop singer. Do you consider yourself a pop singer, a soul singer, a jazz singer? What do you think?
Well, I guess I spent more time singing musical theater than anything. You know, musical theater is somewhat pop. I live now in a real jazz pop space. Sam Cooke, actually, when I discovered that material and started kind of delving into it before I made this show, I created this show in 2006 after that workshop that I spoke about. And it really opened up my voice to me. I was able to kind of really get in touch with what really felt good in my own voice, learn where my voice wanted to go, as opposed to, doing what I'm told to do 8 times a week or, somebody else's pop song. So it was really how I got to discover my own voice and my own sound.
That is, that's really very interesting. Do you, or what do you think, if anything, aligns you with Sam Cooke? Is it his voice? Is it his message? What do you think aligns you with him?
Well, we're both from Chicago. We're native sons.
Right, right.
I felt kind of similar to Sam. Sam was a gospel singer. He began singing gospel with his own siblings. And when he transitioned to pop, he got a lot of, as we say now, we call it, pushback. Got a lot of pushback from the church community about singing the devil's music because, they thought that he was born to sing pop and only pop. And Sam, felt a different calling. And that's the way I felt about, as much as I enjoyed musical theater, it wasn't really, it didn't really give me a sense of personal growth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like there was something I wasn't able to discover about my singing in those confines. You know what I mean? It's a confines with regard to the kind of music I was singing and the way I was singing. So the fact that I discovered these kind of, unbeknownst to me or my family, these recordings of Sam at the Copacabana, he kind of gave me permission to open up the aperture, if you will, to open up my lens, because I knew, of course, all the pop stuff, but it was like, it's okay to kind of move outside those bounds. So I feel like I kind of share that with Sam Cooke. You know what I mean? We share some natural vocal tendencies as well.
Yes, yes.
People ask all the time, am I playing Sam Cooke? I don't play Sam Cooke. I'm just Darrian singing Sam Cooke's songs. And we happen to share some vocal qualities. And I make the most of some other recognizable signature sounds of his. But I'm not mimicking him. I'm just singing his songs as the other.
Right. But we did have some comments as you were singing. Vinny said, wow, you sound like him. And so there are those, moments, more than just a few moments where you go, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rosemary has a question for you. Let me put that up. Darrian, you said you sang with your mom. What music did she enjoy? And did you always sing together?
That was the only time we ever sang together. I think probably that song, I started singing it because she was singing it. You know what I mean? At the time, I was aware of the Jackson 5, and I was like nuts about Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Mostly my affection for him, my affinity for him was about his performances. He was dancing and singing. At the time, I wasn't aware that I shared a vocal ability like that. Like I said, my first recollection of singing was singing with my mom in the kitchen and singing that song. It wasn't until after that, when I got my first professional theater show at 12 and I was singing, that I was like, wow, this is a thing. Because before that, I only wanted to dance. I was a dancer. That's all I ever wanted to do was dance.
Well, we're going to talk about that because there is no mistaking you as a dancer. So I read somewhere that your vocal quality, that they compare you a bit to Al Jarreau.
Yes.
I mean, I love Al Jarreau, and I'm not so sure. I mean, do you think it's because they felt you sound like him, or do you think it's because of your range?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Anytime I sing an Al Jarreau song, people have the same reaction to me singing Al Jarreau as they have when I sing Sam Cooke. And heard that since I was in high school, that I sounded like Al Jarreau. And I went to the High School of Performing Arts as a dance major on a full dance scholarship and wound up singing more than some of the singers. And that was when I first started to hear that I sounded like Al Jarreau. I wasn't so into Al Jarreau because he wasn't a pop singer, but as I grew older, he began to kind of, his music kind of began to disseminate on me. So when I look back, I go, if I had just started in jazz, and people said you sound like Al Jarreau for a reason, like the quality, your phrasing, your range. If I had just started there, who knows where I'd be, rather than having to go through the whole theater loop, So all things are in time. So I'm happy to be compared to Al Jarreau, to Sam Cooke, and anybody else you hear in there, because there's a lot of influences. I'm honored to be compared to any of them.
Well, you brought up your dancing. I just love watching you on stage. You can always tell a dancer. I'm not terribly infatuated with singers that just sort of stand still and sing, because exactly. And I kind of feel like if the music is supposed to move you, then let's see you move, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you're singing a song and you're expressing, something, I certainly wouldn't be able to stand still. And I love that you give in to that. I love that you allow the music to move your body so that, it all becomes one just fabulous expression.
Yeah.
And I love that about you. And I'd like to talk a little bit about your dance background. Did you dance first? You did. You danced first, and then you sort of found your voice.
Well, I sang first, again, in the kitchen with my mom.
Right.
But there was no pursuing it. Like, I don't know whether my mom didn't recognize what was happening. No idea. But I started dancing at age 9 in an after-school program at the local YMCA. And I joined a drummer and bugle corps, flag twirlers and drummers and the dance line. And I joined the dance line and the staff twirlers. And from there, I was bitten by the dance bug. That's all I ever wanted to do. I went to the High School of Performing Arts on a full dance scholarship. While I was in high school, I got an apprenticeship for a Chicago professional dance company. And then right out of high school at 18, I moved to New York and joined the Ailey Company. So that was all I ever wanted to do, was dance, oddly enough. It wasn't until I was 21 and I did the first national Tommy, the Who's Tommy Broadway show, that I kind of reconnected with that whole singing thing from way back there. And then it came to the forefront again, more and more over the years from that point on, until eventually I came to kind of just live in that singing space way more than that dancing space. These days, the only dancing you'll catch me doing is when you catch me doing it like that.
So, but oh my God, to be able to dance the way you dance. And do you remember the audition that you had with Alvin Ailey?
Yes, I do. In fact, it was in Chicago, and it was at the dance studio of the studio where I was a company member. And 2 summers before that, 2 summers prior, I had gone to New York for the summer program. So I was already familiar with Mr. Ailey, and he was already familiar with me. And so when the audition came to our home studio, I was at home. I was comfortable. I was already familiar with the repertory from having gone to New York for 2 summers prior for the summer program. So it was destiny for sure. I remember just feeling like that was going to happen. I just had a feeling it was going to happen, and it happened.
You really are so fortunate, because I know so many dancers, professionally trained dancers, who have incredible voices, but just have not been able to break free from that, dancer status. I'm a dancer. Yeah. They'll only look at you when you go on auditions. They'll say, well, come to the dance audition. But you're fighting that. You're fighting that stereotype, and good for you. That's really a tremendous accomplishment.
It was not easy. I can confirm all of that. The idea that when you walk into a room, well, you have a certain way of walking, a certain gait, way of standing. No matter what you sound like, no matter what you're prepared to do, you're prepared to sing, you've got your songbook. they look at you and they're like, the dance call is next week. And you're like, no, but I'm here to sing. So that is a real thing. It has taken time for me to move beyond that. And I think the vehicle for moving beyond that was musical theater. Certainly leaving concert work to do theater dance gave me a leg up because I had this ability to kind of do any kind of dance at a high level. So that was kind of my entry. But after Tommy was State Fair on Broadway, so I just kept doing musicals and moving through the musicals as less of a dancer and more into singing tracks until Smokey Joe's. I was a lead in Smokey Joe's, which was all singing. There was a bit of dancing as well, but that was really kind of, that was when I was stamped. Oh, this is a singer who dances very well. They kind of flipped the, dancer who sings versus singer who dances. They're like, oh, this is a singer who dances his face off. You know what I mean?
So what's on your resume?
All of that is on my resume.
What comes first? Does anything come singer, dancer, actor, or does it come?
Actor comes first. Then singer and dancer.
Amazing.
Yeah. But moving from theater music to jazz was also its own journey. You know what I mean? It was very difficult for me to be heard in a different way as long as I resided in New York and kept doing musicals. Not only was it difficult for people to hear me in a different way, but it was difficult for me to give my own self the space to sound different. So I simply had to stop doing musicals. I went back home to Chicago for 10 years and started writing and recording and kind of getting myself out there in the jazz arena. And so today, if you asked me what I was, I don't like to peg myself, obviously, because I have all this stuff behind me and in my bag. So, I'm not one who will say, oh, I'm a theater singer, I'm a pop singer. I'm a vocalist. One of my favorite jazz singers, Nancy Wilson, who always be like, I'm a vocalist. I'm a song stylist. You know what I mean? So, but the jazz space, I really feel like is where I'm supposed to be right now.
So now you get a phone call, and I must go back. I have a question coming in for you. But so now you get a phone call from one of the Broadway producers or directors, and they say, Darrian, you must come play X role. Do you take it?
I don't know. That has not happened in many, many, many years. Honestly, I don't really turn my attention to theater very much at all. Actually, I saw 2 shows over the last 2 weeks. Broadway's, there are some shows back open, and as much as I enjoyed them and the whole experience of sitting in the house, it's unless it's some really new and interesting material, I don't really kind of turn my attention to it. Like, it needs to be something fresh, something new, and I think I'm just beyond the point of squeezing myself into other people's material. I'd much prefer to find the material that's natural for me to kind of serve that material. You know what I mean? I think I think I just have grown out of that space where I try to squeeze myself into other people's ideas.
I can't tell you how much I admire you, because, you constantly have to fight for that.
Yeah.
And, again, fighting not to be stereotyped into a certain category, either as a vocalist or performer or whatever. And then, giving yourself, permission to pursue these other areas of entertainment. I mean, that takes a tremendous amount of courage and discipline. So I must tell you that I really admire you. I really do. But I will tell, before I take this next question, I will tell you, in my mind, I see you in a few roles that I would love to see.
What roles?
Well, one of my absolute favorite shows in the entire world is Ain't Misbehavin'.
I've done that. I love that show.
Oh my God. And the truth of the matter is, I don't know which of the 2 male roles I'd want you to play, because they're both just, of course, it was originally played by Andre DeShields and Ken Page, both of whom I love. Both have been to our theater, and I just love them both. And they each had such a rich sort of charm when they've played those roles. But
Absolutely.
I'd love to see you. I'd love to see you because those are roles. Well, especially the Andre role,
Yeah.
where he had to be a good mover and a good singer, and
Yeah.
then of course the Fats Waller music. Hello,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
did that. I did Andre's role in Ain't Misbehaving, and I was really fortunate because having such an extensive dance background, I really got to kind of expand the places in that show where there was movement or dance. Like Viper
Yes,
Drag. I got to do quite a bit of movement. I had a dance actually on the steps of Fat and Greasy, going up and down the steps, which had never been done before. And it only happened because it was something that I was able to do. And the director was like, we're going to use that dance background. You're not going to just be singing. We're putting you to work. And there was some pretty innovative stuff that came out of that production just because I had that in my background.
you see, because you have it. And what about? Oh my goodness, how you baby?
Yeah, yeah.
Woo!
That was I did that show in 2011 in Michigan, Performance Network Theater, 2011, and I did it because the director, I think someone else fell out or couldn't do it, so the director called and asked if I was interested. I hadn't done that show, and as a Black actor, you're like, oops, I gotta do Ain't Misbehaving at least one time in my life before I die. And so I took the job. I dove in. I moved back to Chicago in 2009 again to take a break from theater. I was like, I gotta stop. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. Every time I tried to do something different in New York, I just couldn't. I couldn't allow myself the space and the time to let go of that. So I had to go back home. And so 2011, I got the call for Ain't Misbehaving. I did it, and I just had the most amazing time in that role. It was amazing.
So how do you like my casting? Not bad, right?
Spot on. Well, I only got two places to go, Ken or Andre.
Okay, so we have a question from Vincent. Let's bring that in.
Hi,
Change is gonna
Vincent.
come. Hi, Vincent. Change is gonna come is such an important song. Does a singer feel that weight when you sing a song like that? Excellent question.
Absolutely. Songs like that have such that have, like you said, that cultural weight behind it can sometimes overtake a singer. Like there were times when I've been overtaken by that song for one reason or another. Obviously, if something's happening in culture at the time, like last year, thank God. I mean, if I had to sing that song last year at any point, I never would have made it through because
Right.
it was just day in and day out. So you know what I mean? Singing that song puts you in a vulnerable space to whatever's happening. And it can sometimes take over the singer. So you really kind of have to, at times, restrain what you allow yourself to feel in a way. Otherwise, it can really overtake you for sure. Because it comes with the weight. There's no way to detach yourself from the weight. I mean, I guess depending on who you are, I guess some singers could just approach it as music and lyrics. But I don't have that fortune to be able to just kind of disconnect the song from its background.
Sure, sure. Well, I've got another show for you. I mean, but you see, I know what you mean. It's sort of it may not give you that sort of meatiness that you're looking for. But here's a show where you've got to be a great singer and you've got to be a great dancer, and that's Ain't Too Proud.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Someone
I'm just thinking about it.
absolutely.
Right. I'm thinking about it now. I saw it twice before, twice or three
Yeah,
times, I think twice before, before the pandemic.
yeah,
And, I remember thinking to myself, because, not everybody is a triple threat.
for
And I
sure.
remember thinking to myself, good, wow, and wow,
In fact,
because
I think the term triple threat is thrown around a little bit lightly.
yes, yes. So, I mean, that's
Yeah,
something in
that
a
show's amazing.
heartbeat.
I love that show. However, I have to disappoint you. There's no way I can dance like that anymore.
Yes, you can. Yes, you
I
can.
I saw that show and I was like, I'm exhausted watching. I mean, those guys haul it from end to end of that stage. Like they're amazing. Like my hat's off to them. I would love to have done that, 20 years ago. But you know what I mean? So
Right.
that's great. Like I think about it now, like, oof, God, yeah. I think that clock has timed out for me.
It was funny because I remember when I saw it one time, there was a young man who I believe is actually in the show now, but he was, he had the book in front of him because he was going to go in to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so very often for our viewers, what happens is when an artist, a performer is going to go into a show, they watch the show from the audience's perspective with their book and they sort of study. And I remember you talk about how, I mean, these, we call them tracks. These tracks are really very difficult. And I remember asking him, what role are you studying? What role are you going in? And he said, all of them.
Yeah, those covers have to cover, 4 or 5 different tracks. I've never done that. Oof, and I admire anybody who can do that.
Yes.
Definitely, that's a hard job. Not everybody's cut out to do that for sure. So they definitely deserve all the kudos for being able to hold down 4 or 5 tracks like that. You know what I mean? And that show, it's no joke. It's no joke.
It's no joke, but what a thrill! What a thrill! And so let's see now what kind of music. And I hate to say this, but we are just about wrapping up. So I do want to say to my viewers, if you have a question for Darrian, get it in now. If there's something that I haven't touched upon and you want to ask him, get that in now. And I want to thank a number of our folks are saying that they've enjoyed. Rosemary has enjoyed this interview, and Matthew is saying great questions. So thank you for that. What kind of music do you listen to at home if you just wanted to relax? Is there any one artist that you go, oh, I just need to hear him or her sing? Or
I listen to a lot of instrumental. One of my favorite instrumentalists is Pat Metheny and Pat Metheny Group. So I listen to a lot of instrumentals. I listen to a lot of movie scores. Like one of my favorite movie scorer is Mark Knopfler. There was a movie years ago called Last Exit to Brooklyn. I love that score, The Last Emperor. So I listen to a lot of, in my own time, I listen to a lot of instrumental music, kind of on the classical pop side. And jazz vocalists. I listen to a lot of Nancy Wilson. I listen to a lot of Gregory Porter. Contemporary jazz artists as well as the Tony Bennett's. And every now and then, usually it's in my car when I come into contact with pop music. It's usually on the radio. That's really the only time. But at home, it's kind of the grown-up music.
that's, yeah. Well, I could understand that because sometimes as a vocalist, if you're listening to a certain type of music, it's almost like work, because you might, you start thinking about the lyrics and you start thinking about how maybe you would be expressing it. But if you listen to something instrumental, then that stress sort of just goes away and you can so I could actually understand that. Matthew got in his question, so let me put that up. Have you ever joined a street performer you mean if you were walking by and there was a street performer, did you ever just jump in and jam with them?
No, I haven't. I've thought about it, but in Chicago in particular, some of the street performers, in New York as well, are just amazing. So what stops me from jumping in and joining them? Number one, who knows if they want me to jump in and join them. But number two, I'm so impressed by the courage to stand in public or on the train or wherever they are and to do that. Like I'm not that brave. And so I'm usually just in awe, in addition to their talent, in awe that they are just, able to bring themselves to just do that. Someone challenged me years ago, and I guess it's not too late to take that challenge, but someone said, you should go and sing in the tunnels in Central Park where the acoustics is just amazing. Just go and try it. And it's a great idea. I haven't done it. Maybe someday I'll get to do it. But, bravo to people who are willing to do their art any place and any time. That's a good thing to be able to do for sure.
I agree with you. And actually, during this pandemic, I saw a lot of that. People in parks, musicians just sitting down and playing.
Yeah.
And I think it was catharsis for them, but it was also so wonderful for us to, have that, opportunity to
For
hear them
sure.
play, but it does take a tremendous amount of courage. Matthew,
Yeah,
thank
for
you for
sure.
that question.
Thank you,
Well,
Matthew.
you have just been a dream, and I can't wait, Darrian. We're going to have a reunion once our new theater opens up. We're going to have a reunion of some of the artists that have joined us on
Oh,
QPAC
great.
Live, and I would be very grateful to have you come and perform for us live. And I know this is putting you on the spot, but do you think you can take us out with just a little something live, if you don't mind? Um,
I can. And let me just say, I accept the offer. I'm already there. I
yes,
accept. Yes,
wonderful.
I can share a bit of something. I'm going to share a song with you from my album. It's called New Standards.
Tell us about that.
New Standards. It's all vocal jazz, all original. Well, almost all. There's 15 songs on it. 2 of them are what I call very innovative covers, and the rest are all original from me. This particular song is called Acorns, and it's about the magic of children. Someone asked the question about whether I sang with my mother on more occasions, and that was the only occasion that I remember seeing my mom was singing that song. It may have happened a couple times, but never outside of that context. And I went on to get involved in dance. And that happened. I mentioned that I'm not sure if my mom recognized what was happening, or knew what to do with it, even if she had. And so this song is about the magic that's already in children. The mighty oak is already in the acorn, as I like to say. Reverend T.D. Jakes summed it up beautifully. He said that his granddaughter, when they would gather the family together and take pictures, his little granddaughter, rather than, wanting to be front and center as little girls often do, she would prefer to position the bodies and worry about the composition of the photo. And he said, those are little seeds. That child is dropping little seeds about, is telling you who they are, is telling you where their sensibilities are. And it's our job as parents, as the village, to help them process that, to give them the space to experience those seeds, if you will, and to explore those areas. We don't own them. We're there just to move them through the process of discovering who they are. So the song is called Acorns. Wow, that was a really long explanation. Here's the acorns. Every child arrives in this world with a gift. It may not be obvious at first, but given love, encouragement, and time to grow, they reveal the promise of their birth. And it's already done. The path is already laid, and it's written in stars. The plan is already made. We don't own the acorns, we're just here to guide. They don't come to us, they just come through us. So cherish the acorn, give them a sense of pride. The mighty oak is already on the inside. Yeah, the mighty oak is already on the inside. And every day the young ones challenge us to be better than we were the day before. Yeah, to open up our hearts so that the mind can see all the possibilities in store. And it's already done. The path is already laid, and it's written in stars. When it's already made. Oh, we don't own the acorns, we're just here to guide. They don't come to It's already done. Apple's already played, and it's written in the stars. There's already paid. Oh, we all need Lord. We are just here to guide them. They just come through us. So cherish the acorns. Give them a sense of pride. The mighty oak is already on the inside. Yeah, the mighty oak is already on the inside. The mighty oak is already on the inside. Yeah, the rose is in the bud. It's already done. You can't improve upon perfection. Oh, oh, oh. That's acorns.
That was so beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the fabulous Darrian Ford on QPAC Live. And what a great thrill that was for us. Darrian, that's a beautiful song. In fact, I hear so many of your influences in that music.
Yeah, that's,
I hear
yeah.
so many. There was just a little bit of everyone, a little Sam, a little Stevie, a little Algero, just a little bit,
Yeah.
and a whole lot of Darrian. Thank you for tonight, ladies and
You're
gentlemen.
welcome.
Do follow us. Do check out our website. Visit qpac.org so
Ah,
you can
yes.
see. You can see.
Also, check
Yeah.
out, follow me at all Darrian, ALL_Darrian at Instagram, Darrian Ford at Facebook. Now that we're moving forward, we're open. We may be open. I'll start putting up some content. I have to say I was kind of laxed throughout the last 18 months, but yeah, want to get back to putting up more content. So check it out, all Darrian at Instagram and Facebook.
Darrian, that album's available?
Yes, New Standards. New Standards available anywhere you get streaming music. iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby, stream it on Spotify, wherever you get your streaming music.
New standards indeed. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen.
You're
Until the next time,
welcome.
have a
Thank you.
lovely night.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
Darrian. Bye now.